Alright, so everybody keeps telling me that I'll have an easier time finding wheels if I was to convert this over to a 5-lug pattern. So I went ahead and did it up front, but I don't really see how this is going to help me any. Alright, it's been 2 months since my last post, actually a little over 2 months, so let's just start with, I'm sorry about that. Now, the reason why it's been so long is because we've been getting ready to sell our house. And if you remember what this place looked like, I had 4 vehicles in the driveway that weren't driving, running, that kind of thing. So I had to deal with a lot of that. We had to get the gardening done, which I had been slacking on because, you know, I've got all these vehicles I was working on. And then I had all the associated parts for all those project cars. So first things first was getting the house ready, so that took a while. I just haven't had any time to do any editing. Even though I haven't had time to do any editing, I have been filming some things as I've gotten them done. So in this episode, what I want to do is I want to get back on track. I'm going to be kind of MIA again, off and on, but here's the plan. That's what I want to do, talk to you guys about the plan. So the plan is, I've got a bunch of stuff I filmed on this truck already, and a whole bunch of stuff I filmed on other projects. So I've got plenty of things to edit, and once we're living in a camper, I'll have nothing to do but edit. So, alright, so I promised I'd show you guys the bumper mechanism, and I saw a comment requesting to see more of it. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way real quick. Now, as you can kind of see here, just from an engineering standpoint, this thing runs uphill from the pivot point to where it's attached to the bracket. And that is so that as it's coming down, it actually moves away from that pivot point, so it actually pushes the bumper out just a hair as it's coming down. So it comes down like this. It comes out as it comes down and then ducks back in. That's the whole point of that. This is just a washer with a nylon locking nut on the inside. It's a washer here. I mean, this is a bolt with a nylon locking nut. It's a thick wall aluminum tube I just had laying around in the scrap bin, and I just drilled a hole through it for now. I would do bushings or something if this was supposed to be like a pro setup. But I just wanted to do a proof of concept basically and get my bumper usable. Alright, so what we got here on this end is I basically took the factory mounting bracket off the Chevy Blazer, the inside mounting bracket. I threw the outside mounting brackets away. And this mounting bracket's been extended for this mount and cut down a little bit. And what we did was we took a whole bunch of weight out of it because this is nothing more than a glorified license plate frame at this point. It's not a real bumper. So all that extra weight hanging on there didn't do us any good. So I just got to put out doing that. I also elongated these mounting slots in the bumper bracket because that allows me to move this bracket side to side. So what I've done is basically once I mount these to the bumper, before I tighten them up, I pinched them so that they're just touching the outsides of these frame rails on either side, and that's what keeps this bumper from moving side to side. As you can see, it's nice and solid side to side, but it's not grabbing it so hard that it's really grinding into it or anything. These slots here, I also made slots going in the opposite direction. These go right and left, the other ones go top and down that are slotted into this bracket here. And that gives me infinite adjustability basically to rotate this way or bring it out or in. Alright, so that will go on like that, which means we can go in and out to adjust our length, and this can twist or turn or just go up and down independent like that. And then the final ride height is set with this strut. Alright, so basically what we got here is I made these brackets, which we showed you earlier. They just bolt right here on the bottom side of the tailgate, both ends of the tailgate. Out right here, like so. Alright, so here's how this thing works. When I open the tailgate, because of the location of this eye compared to, you know, everything else as far as the pivot point on the tailgate, which is basically where this line is, and back about an inch that way, when this tailgate opens, this is going to move forward almost a lot more than it moves down. So by putting that over there, that allows that to really extend. As you can see, it drops the bumper a long way. Way more than it needs to. This thing really only needs to come down about an inch to clear the tailgate. Maybe an inch and a half. But that thing drops like 4 inches. Because it's being held by this strut, whether it's down, up, whatever, it's still going to be firmly held in place. Okay. Put this here, flip this back on top of it, and that'll go there. Now here's a little tip for you guys, if I've probably said it a million times though. You turn the screw backwards if you're putting in a screw, a sheet metal type screw like this, something that cuts threads when you put it in. When you're putting it back in a second time, if you just ram it in, you're going to cut a new set of threads, and every time you cut new threads, you're weakening all that metal right there. So if you want to be able to do this a bunch of times and you care about the car, then turn it backwards when you're putting it in. Here, I'll show you. And it'll drop into the old threads, and then you just screw it on in. And you'll know because it'll go in easy. So I'm turning it backwards. There, it dropped in. And then yeah, it just turns in really easy. So that's how you do it. And you don't cut any threads that way. Anyway, that just protects your threads for the future. And there it is. One LED license plate light. Alright, and there is our license plate light installed. And that is, as you can see, our LED panel. So yeah, that came out great. It works fine. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, next. So here's a quick little clip montage showing some of the stuff that's going on. I'm not really going to go into too much detail. I'll just throw a little music on it, show you some clips. And those will be all upcoming episode material. So enjoy that for a minute, and I'll talk to you in a second. Alright, so one of the things we're going to need to address is this missing emblem here on this grill. Other thing is this guy right here. It's hopefully it doesn't turn upside down. It's got a big old gap here. This is pointed off at an angle. You can see it on that side. It comes away from the tailgate as it comes up. So there is a precision, a very technical way of getting that perfectly straight so that you know that it's been done right. And then there's the way I'm doing it. That looks straight. Furniture pad things. Alright. There you go, that's not gonna rattle. So let's do a quick comparison between these steering arms, whatever you want to call them. This is actually this. So, thanks a bunch for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I like seeing you guys' comments, responding to them, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So, I was having trouble keeping the tires clean. The bottoms are always getting dirty, and I knew the tops were dirty, but I couldn't get to them, so I went ahead and just cut out the wheel well. So now I can clean the tops of the tires too.